Hey Dub, this is Dave. Today I want to talk about Halsey and BTS together. People have been saying things about them together for a while, and since BTS recently had a collab and is back in the news, every time collabs come up, so does Halsey. So let's talk about it. I also want to get into something Jin and RM said that was shocking to everyone. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. And let's get into it. Recently, more and more, I'm a big believer in the universe and things working out. I promise this relates to BTS. Do I believe everything is pre-planned? Not necessarily, but I believe when you choose a path, kind of like a video game, the path will open up, and if you choose a different one, a new path will open up. So what am I going on about here? Back in 2017, I believe BTS was doing an American interview with Ryan Seacrest, and they were asked about future plans or whatever. It was quite shocking to ARMY that Jin at the time had a prediction of J-Hope going solo and having a solo career in America. Jin couldn't get out all the words, and he was unfamiliar with some of the English words. But ultimately, RM then stepped in to fully translate what was said, that Jin was expecting J-Hope to have a career somewhere in America. Of course, this is shocking because J-Hope actually ended up going first in his solo career, and the fandom was definitely wondering how Jin knew that J-Hope would go first in America. Well, there's a few theories that ARMY's had, and ones that I wanted to get into as well. One that I personally had is that the members were aware that J-Hope was working on several things. After all, this Jack in the Box album wasn't exactly his first solo release. Hope World was released in early 2018, which probably means that J-Hope was in mid-recording of the album in 2017. So if Jin had heard what was on the album and decided that this was so good, he could assume that J-Hope might want to pursue an overseas career by himself. This was likely referencing Hope World and not Jack in the Box. Since BTS already made some headway in America, it wouldn't have been too difficult for J-Hope to get some more American promotion. Other theories were a bit more out of this world types of theories. Theories like BTS's entire career just feel planned and everything really pieced together for them. But I truly do believe a lot of stuff happens for a reason, and we can't really see it in the moment, but after the moment is over, we can potentially realize and make sense of that sad moment, but only if you let it. You might have just been through a heartbreak and you're thinking your life is over, but if you somehow take what you've learned from that heartbreak, maybe you realize you can't be with someone who does X, Y, and Z, or you become more cautious of the red flags. Whatever it is, you can then go into the next relationship being aware and quickly shutting that relationship down if you're noticing those red flags right away. In that case, your heartbreak was not for nothing, but allows you to become a stronger person and know yourself better. Again, these things only make sense if you let it make sense and take the lessons from it. I think it's quite beautiful when we see how things work in real life and we're able to zoom out and see the whole picture. Even in a horrible situation like a death, there's several things you can potentially learn too. If you simply just look at the death, then it becomes very unfair and hard to move on. But if you look at the bigger picture and see that it taught you life is short and you need to go for your dreams, it taught you to say I love you to the people that you love before they're gone, so many things, and that is all what gives meaning to a bad thing or any type of thing that happens to you. BTS takes lessons and meanings from everything that they do, and they're able to use that to move forward, which is exactly why everything feels like it's piecing together from the past, because they're mentally doing that. They're growing and learning and using that for their music and career. It's really beautiful, and I'm very curious what you think of RM and Jin saying what they said. Do you think I am making a mountain out of a hill or not? But even when RM or Jin aren't even trying, they're still making meaningful words. Jin was also being talked about since he is a part of the vocal squad in BTS. They were all planning on doing a collab with Benny Blanco and his song Bad Decisions. This has been teased for ages, and it's finally about to be released, and I am sure there will be a lot of thoughts on it. I will be reacting to it on my Patreon, of course, when it's released, so I will link my Patreon below if you want to check it out with me. Of course, every single time a collab inches closer, the debate of whether BTS is being used for clout is being discussed. People are saying that they often don't like the collabs BTS does because they don't listen to those artists and they think that the artists are using BTS for clout. And this makes me question if people understand how the world works. The point of a collab is to make good music and to make money. It's called the music industry or music business. BTS's label is literally referred to as a company, and any company's job is to make money. And they are publicly traded on the stock market. You think money isn't something very important to them, but that's not a bad thing. Money isn't bad. If you hate the song, then don't listen to it, and the said collab will never happen as the song would flop. But if you like it, then I don't see a reason why it's bad to support it and give both people a lot of money. The two artists don't have to be besties. In fact, they probably won't be, as BTS's English is not that good, so they can't actually have meaningful, deep, and personal conversations. And they can just work together, and they could just both be using each other for clout. Who cares? Enjoy the music. music. But Halsey is brought up because there's people who don't like her or trust her or think her whole situation with BTS is just for clout and that she doesn't actually care about the boys. But I believe that that's untrue. I think they do have a great relationship, and I think they often probably see each other and hang out without cameras there. And she's always been a big supporter of K-pop way before she met BTS. After Bad Decisions was inching closer, it seemed like Halsey was in Tokyo, and she did a 7-Eleven haul on her TikTok. And one of the items that she bought was a BT21 surprise mystery box. She ended up getting Chimmy, and she was so excited. People were thinking that this was her way of getting more clout from BTS, but she literally does this type of content all the time. And when there's fun things to buy and review, why on earth would she not do it? It makes interesting content. People are also referencing an older thing that happened with her to say that she is a terrible person and that they have no doubt she's a clout chaser. There was a moment a long time ago where Halsey and Iggy Azalea had a little beef. Halsey brought up during an interview Iggy's name and allegedly called Iggy dumb and all that. This was brought up recently by someone in the fandom to say that Halsey never apologized for that comment. It is definitely strange for someone to bring up another artist's name without being prompted. Halsey was not asked about Iggy. However, every celebrity is brought up without being prompted. Who gave permission to this BTS fan to bring up Halsey's name? But they did anyway. Also, I want to add that Iggy was going through a cultural appropriation scandal at the time, and Halsey is half black, so she felt personally offended by something Iggy was doing and wanted to call Iggy out on that. And since Halsey is half black, she is allowed to be offended. You can't tell her she isn't allowed if it's her culture. Maybe she dealt with the situation weirdly, but she was also much younger at the time, and she has learned to not get involved in such situations now. I think it's completely unfair and bad that all of this was not included when people decided to attack Halsey now. They simply did not bring up why she was upset and just made it seem like she just said it. They didn't bring up any context. However, if Iggy were to collab with BTS now, I can almost bet everything that her cultural appropriation scandals would be brought up as a reason as to why BTS should not collab with Iggy. Halsey has been nothing but kind to BTS, and it seems like every single day there's a viral tweet online explaining why Halsey needs to get away from BTS and all that. And the thing is, they would not care or say anything if Halsey was not associated with BTS. The same people that are mad, if Halsey and BTS never met, some of those fans would not care what Halsey did. They want to care or act like they care about anything, but there's so many notable causes and things that need support that are getting less and less, and it's not associated with BTS, so they don't even look into it. But if it is, they'll find a tweet from 10 years ago. Of course, I am not addressing the entire fandom, just the select few. I think ARMYs were great with the Trump thing and several amazing charity events. I just get so upset at how some of these childish fans take hating Halsey or anyone BTS collabs with to this whole other level, demanding Halsey apologize for something that has nothing to do with BTS. But if Halsey were to apologize, these comments would be flooded with, "It's too late for you, BTS doesn't want your apology," even if the apology wasn't for BTS. There's also this idea that if a celebrity or whoever apologizes, it's because they're trying to recover their career. But maybe it's because they just feel bad. Celebrities are all people who like to be liked, which is why they obviously choose this line of work. If they see thousands of people hating them and hurt by what they said, even if they didn't think what they did was wrong, they can still feel bad that people are hurt or angry because of what they said, because no one wants their art or brand to make people mad. So what do you think? Do you think Halsey doing a haul was a recent reaction to BTS's collab of Bad Decisions? Do you think Halsey is using BTS for clout and that she needs to apologize for her entire past just so that she can be alongside BTS? And of course, how do you feel about RM and Jin allegedly predicting the future? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thank you for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.